Hi, I'm Fatema Agarkar and I'm the founder of the Agarkar Center of Excellence, also called ACE, in conversation with you today to talk about a really important aspect, which is a natural consequence of what we've experienced in the last 15 to 18 months being in lockdown. Social anxiety, as it is termed today, is really a phase, a period of transition from what the children have understood of their world in their normal days to what they're experiencing now as they encounter these lockdown times. Many continue to be in a virtual platform. And again, being in lockdown, being confined, lack of interaction with peers, with their teachers, with adults, or even strangers in that sense, has kept them in a little bit of a cocoon. For us as educators, we call it a period of transition. Mind you, even when children come back to us after a summer break, 6 to 8 weeks away from their school, there is a period of transition, and we recognize this as a period of settling. Again, parents, one of the things that I keep telling everyone is, and I know my fellow educators talk about it, is the fact that we need to orient ourselves with a mindset that's all embracing. For one, do not believe that your child, before Corona, I call it BC, and now encountering these lockdown times, we're not yet out of our COVID-19 pandemic, will go through a period of change. So when you embrace it as a period that you have to get used to, automatically everything that you do, your communication, the way you manage their emotions, the way you guide them, the way you orient them, just becomes a lot more healthier. Once you've accepted it and you've lowered your expectations, they're not going to be the children that they were. Let's accept that, let's embrace that. But why don't we actually revel, and why don't we actually celebrate the changes that have happened? Again, when people label children, this is an expressive child, this is an introverted child, this is a child that takes time, this is a child that's shy, that's quiet. It could be circumstantial. Maybe that child in that circumstance is reacting to perhaps something that's unusual, something they're not used to, something that needs their confidence, that needs their buy-in. So let's not label children and generalize it. So some of the things that you can do is take baby steps. We try very hard, very well-meaning that we are, to try and normalize, to make it into that perfect place that we so desire, because then it gives us a sense of security. Let's detach ourselves from that feeling and talk about a period of transition where we're taking these little bite steps to say that it is going to be unusual, it is going to be different. So what can we do? Let's not make it exactly how it was. Let's start experimenting. Let's start with smaller cohort, smaller play dates, smaller interactions, more one-to-one. So go back to that childhood period where children were first exposed to themselves, their family, then exposed to one-on-one, fewer friends, before you put them back into that large cohort, which is overwhelming. One of the things that I always tell parents is that communicate. Walk your children through what they're going to expect. Talk about feelings. Talk about addressing what they are experiencing as an emotion. Could be fear. Could be, but you told me, to stay away from people. Now they're coming closer. I'm scared. You told me always wear mask, but they're not wearing masks. So should I talk to them? They have a lot of questions. Be prepared to be patient to address all of these questions. And the more they talk, the more they're actually reassuring themselves, and that's a great sign, parents. So don't treat it as, I just told you all this and you're asking me to repeat all of this again. They need the repetition. They need that comfort from you. They need the confidence that comes from you. So communication is going to be your power tool. So walk them through some of these scenarios. Let them know that if they feel scared, what they can do. If they're feeling happy, what they can do. If they want to engage, what are the do's and don'ts? Spell it out for them. I find that children with direction, with structure, do beautifully well. Of course, they're nervous. Of course, they take time. Of course, they hesitate. These are all good signs. This means that your child is reacting, your child has understood the severity that we're going through in terms of the situation. Your child is an aware child. Celebrate that moment. If they are nervous, walk them away from that situation. So while you give them a few minutes to get accustomed and get used to, if you sense that your child is uncomfortable, that this is making your child restless, your child is now exhibiting a bit of anger, a bit of a tantrum, is reacting in an unusual way, take your child away from that situation and have that one-on-one. I don't call it timeout. I call it one-on-one with your child, to hug them, to reassure them, and put them back into that situation. Remember when your child learned to swim, you don't push the child into the deep sea. Today's techniques are about getting your child oriented in the shallow and then navigating to the deep end. Similarly, you have to go back to those days when your child was just getting used to a social setting. You know what? And this is irrespective of age group. It isn't just the toddlers, it is the middle schoolers, it is the high schoolers that are experiencing all of this. So be patient. I would suggest that if you have a building community, if you have friends in the building, that you can start these mini interactive sessions. It would be a great icebreaker before you try and socialize a lot of that. I would also highly recommend that if the child is exhibiting extraordinary symptoms of fear, of restlessness, of anxiety, of unnecessary sweating, of pitching, of fumbling with words, uncomfortable with conversations, do consult experts. Today there are lots of therapists who work with children and walk them through in a professional manner. Perhaps as well-meaning as we are as parents, we overpower them by giving them too many solutions. The idea is to equip them. The idea is to get them stronger and get them really comfortable. Please be patient. That is my one advice to parents. Just some of the quick ways to get your children less anxious as they begin their social interaction all over again.